Dear citizens of Russia, dear veterans, no esteemed guests, comrades, soldiers and sailors, sergeants and petty officers, warrant officers and ensigns, comrades, officers, generals and admirals, I congratulate you on the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Great Patriotic War. Today, we are all united by feelings of joy and sorrow, pride and gratitude and reverence for the generation that crushed Nazism and, at the cost of millions of lives, won freedom and peace for all of humanity. We faithfully preserve the memory of these historic, triumphant events and, as heirs of the victors, celebrate May 9th as our own holiday, as the most important one for the country, for all the people, for every family, for each of us. Our fathers, grandfathers, and great-grandfathers saved the fatherland and bequeathed to us the duty to defend our motherland, to remain united, to firmly uphold our national interests, our 1,000-year history, the culture, the traditional values. Everything that is dear to us, everything that is sacred to us. We remember the lessons of the Second World War and will never accept the distortion of its events, nor attempts to justify the executioners and slander the true victors. It is our duty to defend the honor of the soldiers and commanders of the Red Army, the great feat of people of different nationalities who will forever remain in world history as Russian soldiers. Russia has been and will remain an unbreakable barrier against Nazism, Russophobia, and anti-Semitism, and will continue to fight against the outrages committed by the proponents of these aggressive and destructive ideas. Truth and justice are on our side. The entire country, society, and people support the participants of the special military operation. We are proud of their courage and determination, of that strength of spirit which has always brought us victory. Dear friends, the Soviet Union bore the brunt of the enemy's most savage and merciless attacks. Millions of people who had only known peaceful labor took up arms and stood their ground to the death on every height, bridgehead, and defensive line. They determined the outcome of the entire Second World War with their unconditional victories in the largest battles near Moscow and Stalingrad at the Kursk salient, and the Dnieper with the courage of the defenders of Belarus, who were the first to face the enemy with the steadfastness of those who defended the Brest fortress and Mogilev, Odessa and Sevastopol, Murmansk, Tula, Smolensk, with the heroism of the residents of besieged Leningrad, with the bravery of all who fought at the front in partisan detachments and in the underground, and with the valor of those who, under enemy fire, evacuated factories, who worked in the rear, sparing no effort, pushing themselves to the limit. The Nazis' plans to seize the Soviet Union were shattered by the truly iron unity of the country. The heroism of the people was widespread. All the republics bore the common, low, heavy burden of war. The contribution of the people of Central Asia and the Caucasus was immense. From there, trains carrying everything the front needed ran without interruption. Hospitals were set up here, and hundreds of thousands of evacuated people found their second home. They were given shelter, bread, and heartfelt warmth. We honor every veteran of the Great Patriotic War and bow our heads in memory of all those who gave their lives for victory. In memory of sons, daughters, fathers, mothers, grandfathers, great-grandfathers, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, relatives, and friends. We bow our heads before our comrades in arms who fell bravely in the righteous fights here for Russia. A moment of silence is declared. Dear friends, nearly 80% of the world's population was drawn into the fiery orbit of the Second World War. The complete defeat of Nazi Germany, militarist Japan, and their satellites in various regions of the world was achieved through the combined efforts of the United Nations countries. We will always remember that the opening of the Second Front in Europe following the decisive battles on Soviet territory brought victory closer. We highly value the contribution to our common struggle made by the soldiers of the Allied armies, members of the resistance, the courageous people of China, and all those who fought for a peaceful future. Dear friends, we will continue to look up to our veterans, to their sincere love for the motherland, to their determination to defend their homeland, and to the values of humanism and justice. We will cherish these traditions, this great legacy, as the most important thing in our hearts and pass it on to future generations. We will always rely on our unity, both in times of war and peace, in achieving strategic goals, and in solving tasks for the sake of Russia, its greatness, and its prosperity. Glory to the victorious people. Happy holiday. Happy Victory Day. Hurrah!